You know that feeling where you just feel stuck? Almost like you have this invisible, extremely itchy wool sweater on that you can't take off. It's an uncomfortable, unsure, confused, frustrated, and at times mad feeling that you can't shake. I do. That's how I felt about my life, and more specifically about my career about 2.5 years ago. Welcome to Thriving in the Wild. I'm Taylor Stern. I'm sharing what happens when you step into your vulnerability, face the hard things, celebrate your journey, and giving you your weekly reminder that no one has it all figured out. It's time to thrive. Let's go. I started to really notice this feeling in August of 2018. I was fortunate to work on a team with Dave Hillman and Kent Garrison while we produced a documentary about Dak Prescott, and it was recognized for an Emmy. While that was definitely something I never imagined for myself, I couldn't help but feel weird. I was certainly proud, and I was proud of the group effort and grateful for the honor, but I just felt weird. I felt nervous that this was a ceiling I had hit, or confused that this wasn't the direction I had been on. I had put on that itchy wool sweater and I couldn't take it off. From the outside looking in, I think most would have described my former job as a dream job, but it never felt like that to me. Not because I was ungrateful or didn't enjoy it, but internally I was really struggling. Something just felt off. It felt like I wasn't really living out my full potential. I was always debating things in my head like, what's next? What should I really be doing? What will success look like? I was seeking more, which gave me this really odd complex of wanting to feel grateful, but also not feeling like I was in the right spot. In walks my fairy godmother, Debbie Mitchell. Debbie Mitchell is the founder of Live Gifted, and she's a professional career and life coach. She's undoubtedly changed my life forever in the best way. And working with her helped me see what I was possible of. She helped me face my fears of those things that were blocking me to get there, and ultimately acted as a trampoline for when I would fall, she bounced me even higher. She helped me recognize what I was feeling and why, and she did it without judgment. She also met me where I was, and she pushed when needed, but also recognized when I wasn't ready just yet. Debbie was kind enough to join me and have this short conversation today, but it's very impactful, and I think it's why we all need a little bit of Debbie in our lives. She gives some really powerful tips that anyone can relate to in their career or even in their life position. She's just truly a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait any longer for you to hear her. So here she is. Debbie, I am so happy for you to join me today. This has been a conversation that we've had many, many times, but it's one that I'm happy we can now share with the audience and show them why you are really my fairy godmother.
Oh, thanks, Taylor.
Do you just hear
I'm
how
excited to be
soothing
here.
and amazing her voice is? That's who she is as a person. It's true. Um,
Thank you.
so the first question I have, and we'll make this pretty quick because I plan to have you many times on the show, but this is just our first intro to who Debbie Mitchell is and what Live Gifted is and what she did for me in my journey. So first things first, for someone who might be feeling stuck or a little bit lost in their professional journey, what are just some basic tips that you would suggest to anyone listening right now to kind of help with first their mindset, because I think that's key, and then kind of getting back on track of sorts?
Sure. So, that's always that dreaded feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. I don't like my job. I'm not happy. And there are so many factors that that play into that. So, I would say just take a moment, take some quiet time, preferably not in the middle of your workday, but whenever you get the time, and just imagine what your day would be like if your work focused around things that you love.
Interesting.
And just think about it because we don't really, from the time you're set out into the world to go find a career, you're not always thinking about what it is you love. Primarily, you're thinking about what can I do that'll pay my bills. And those two things may seem incongruous, but they aren't necessarily. But we just don't spend as much time thinking that way.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think as a culture in our society, it's this is a reference to back when I was young. It's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah.
So it's all about, how much money you make, what kind of car you can buy, what clothes you're wearing. All that stuff takes money.
Yeah.
And it's just the American culture.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now, in 2020, it's a challenging year, no doubt. But what would some of your words of encouragement or advice be to someone who's just having to make changes, either by their choice or not, professionally, or on a whole
Mhm.
career scape? What would you say to them?
Right. I would say, 2020, the gift of 2020 is I think it's actually allowed all of us to take a pause, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, and reevaluate. And I would encourage anyone who's maybe lost their job unexpectedly or um, is trying to make a transition and it seems like it can't happen. The first thing I'd say is remember, you don't have to find a job for the entire American workforce that may be out of work right now. You only need to find one job, and that's for you. So don't be overwhelmed when you hear on the news and the statistics about unemployment and all of those things. Doesn't matter. There are plenty of jobs for you to have one. It's just a matter of finding it.
That's so true.
Number two, I would also just say that whatever you're going through, you this year gives us so much cover.
Hmm.
If you need to make a change and it seems like it's illogical, or you've been out of work, or you stopped school, or you're going back to school, you could just walk into an interview and say, "It's 2020. This is why this happened." And they're going to go, "Oh, yeah, I get it. I hear you. I understand." And so it offers lots of cover.
That's true. I never thought about that. It's kind of like weddings now. It's like, hey, so sorry we can't invite you. It's 2020.
Right. That's, that's
It's like,
exactly
oh,
right.
sorry, can't
And
come to
there'll
my
be
wedding.
things
Yeah. Debbie, I almost got married this year. Not, but in another world.
right.
Uh,
That's another.
that's another time. And we'll talk about that, sure. I'm sure too. What are some of your favorite practices for the healthy work life balance? And this is one that I particularly struggled with when we first met because I just felt so out of balance. I just felt like I was giving so much on one end and then didn't have any real life of my own.
Mhm. So one of the greatest things I've learned in my career is that we teach people how to treat us, whether that's professionally or personally. So a lot of times it's hard for people to turn off and they are at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock responding to emails. And I say, stop doing that. Because once you get in the habit of responding all through the night, then people's expectation is going to be that no matter when they email you, no matter when they call you or ask for something, that you are going to respond immediately. Then they just suck up all your time. Put some boundaries on it.
Yeah.
They'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll nothing's gonna crater.
But okay, so and I felt this pressure obviously when I was at my old job is that like, oh, okay, well, this is my boss comparatively to say, if I got a random email from somebody else, how do you manage that?
So with your boss, you are always respectful, just like you would be to anyone, but you can communicate. And that's the main thing. And you can say, hey, um, I'll get back with you in the morning on this. I'll have this for you in the morning
Hmm.
or whenever you think it will be. The other thing that I found is that when things are really, really urgent, if somebody really, like it is, your boss needs something immediately, if you don't respond to an email, they're going to text you or call you.
That's true.
So sometimes they put things out immediately to you so they can take it off their list. And now they've crossed it off. They're done. Now it's on your plate.
Yeah.
So if anybody asks them, they can say, "Oh, well, I gave it to Taylor.
Yeah.
That's why it's." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really I feel like people do that, like, just in general with life. It's like, "Oh, well, I texted you and asked you to go to dinner,
Yeah.
now the ball's in your court." Same thing.
Right. That's the exact same thing. It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
And it's all gonna get done in the end. Like, you're either gonna go to dinner or not, or respond to the email or not. Like, you just gotta set those boundaries for yourself.
Right. And the other thing too that I would recommend is that you fill in your personal time with some things that you love to do, because then you can honestly say, I can't do that right now. I'm going to yoga, or I am hanging out with my family, or, I went for a run, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just assures that you have that space for you and you have a reasonable, you know, block on your calendar that you can tell someone I'm not available currently.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, for someone preparing for a job or interview, what are some things that kind of set people apart or people could start doing now, even if they're going to stay in their current job, or just kind of how can people start setting themselves up for success?
Mhm. Great question. I think the number one thing that people can do is start having conversations with people in their network. That's how people really get jobs. The odds of you getting a job from a post that you see online on a job board are so small. Talk to people in your network. It helps you practice your pitch, getting it so it's smooth and makes sense. Um, and it also just gets you more comfortable interviewing. Interviewing is just having a conversation with someone. And the more you've practiced it, the more you feel good about it, the easier it'll be and the more comfortable you'll be.
That's true. That's a good point. What inspires you the most about the work you do?
Mm. Oh my gosh, that's easy. My clients. I I just love seeing people reach a goal. And it's not my goal, it's their goal. But when they get there, when they have some sort of an insight or something great happens and they pick up the phone or I get a text or an email and they say, "Oh my gosh, Debbie, this happened. I did this today. I did that." Um, I just, I love filling up my heart with those stories, and I've got some really, really good ones. Just, just makes me feel good. I
Hmm.
love it.
What's a good one you can share?
Well, you're one of my favorite ones
Well, I love you. You're my
because I
queen.
love you.
You are my queen.
um, so I'll give a quick one, and I won't go into detail, but she'd be okay, I think, if I told the story. I met a young woman. I was in Costco, and I walked by her, and she was sitting at a product table sampling some bath and body products. And I just looked at her, and she had this light. So she told me all about her products, and I ended up putting one in my cart. But as I'm talking to her, I'm like, why are you here? Not that there's anything wrong with her doing that, but she had this light and she was smart. Anyway, long story short, I told her what I did. I said, if you're doing what you love, great. If not, you want to try something else, here's my card, call me. And she was like you in this, that by the time I got home, I had a full email. And she just went for it. So from the time we started working um, to probably 18 months later, she had sat for her professional license. She was working in a full-time job with benefits, had promoted. She bought her first house. Now she owns 3 rental properties. She's getting married. I can't take credit for all of that. She did the work. But I love that, she was barely getting by,
Yeah.
sampling things at Costco. And now she's built a life that she loves, that she can take care of herself and her daughter.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that story. I've never heard that. I've literally never heard that.
Oh,
And
I
I've
know.
heard other ones.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think that's the moral of why I think it's so valuable to work with you, because it is the balance of career coaching but life coaching, because so much of us, especially in America, like you said, the American culture, your life has to be your work, and I think it becomes your identity. That's another conversation that I think will be a powerful one.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
that's the power of it, is like building a life for yourself.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, for yourself
Exactly.
and not for others, because money is sometimes mostly for others.
And there are plenty of people that have incredibly financially successful careers that are miserable
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah,
It's not just the money.
it's true. All right. Well, I can't wait for people to start seeing you more and more here. But what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you for career and, personal life coaching, any of the above?
Sure. So the best way would be to head to my website,
Okay.
which is a work in progress, everyone. Um, I'm a great coach. I am not a technical wizard, but it's www.livegifted.com. And you can put your information in and send me a quick note, and I'll get back to you.
Yay.
And I also have Instagram. It's Live Gifted, and you can just see little bits of my world.
Well, I love your Instagram and I love you. So thank you so much for joining us for our first episode.
Yay! I can't wait to come back for more.
Yes. Isn't Debbie incredible? She is such a gift. Okay, no pun intended, I know, because of her company Live Gifted, but she's truly something. Every time I talk to her, it just feels like I'm getting a big hug. Honestly, if you've ever thought about reaching out for help in career coaching or even life coaching, I really cannot recommend Debbie enough. She has transformed my thinking, and I feel forever grateful for her. She reminded me that while our careers or even our life journey might go into the wild, we don't have to be unprepared, especially when you could have a compass to help guide you or to show you the right path to take. Head over to our Instagram at Thrivin' in the Wild or at thrivinginthewild.com and leave us a note about other topics you'd like to hear Debbie dive into. Hi, are you loving the show? Go find that little subscribe button on your podcast app. This will ensure you won't miss a single episode. Until next time.